Sunday, we witnessed a landmark event in the history of Iraq. Saddam Hussein was convicted and sentenced to death. We congratulate the Iraqi people. We appreciate the fact that they're converting their country from a rule of a tyrant to rule of law. And as we congratulate the Iraqi people, we've got to remember that there was a lot of brave men and women who wear our uniform that made sacrifices necessary so they arrived back to that position in the first place. In our efforts to protect you, Iraq is now the central front. Oh, you hear them all the time in Washington say, well, Iraq isn't the central front in the war on terror, or Iraq is a distraction from the war on terror. I don't think it is. Our troops don't think it is, and neither does Osama bin Laden. He has said that the fight in Iraq is the Third World War. He has said that victory for the terrorists in Iraq will mean America's defeat and disgrace forever. That's what he said. Oh, you hear them in Washington say, the Democrats say, that because we're fighting them in Iraq, we're creating more enemies. Well, Iraq's not the reason that the terrorists are at war with us. We weren't in Iraq when they bombed the World Trade Center in 1993. We weren't in Iraq when they attacked our embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. We weren't in Iraq when they attacked the USS Cole, and we were not in Iraq on September the 11th, 2001. You do not create terrorists by fighting the terrorists. The best way to protect you is to stay on the offense and defeat the enemy overseas so we do not have to face them again here at home. Is victory. And victory means a country that can sustain itself and defend itself and govern itself, and a country which will be an ally in the war on terror against these extremists and radicals. And we've got a lot going for us. First of all, we have a plan for victory. I have given our commanders on the ground all the flexibility and all the tools they need to be able to stay ahead of the enemy. We've got a fighting force equal to none. We've got the finest United States military ever. Citizens don't agree with Iraq is important for your security, but our troops understand it. Morale is high. They understand what's going on in this combat zone. They understand the stakes, and therefore those of us in government have the full responsibility to give them all the tools they need to do the jobs that I've asked them to do. And you don't have to worry about Martinez and Miller. They understand that when we've got a man or woman in harm's way, he or she deserves all the full support of the federal government. We got something else going for us. Know the brave Iraqis. These folks have suffered unspeakable violence, and yet they're still committed to a government of, by, and for the people. You know, when they went to the polls and defied the car bombers and assassins, I was pleased, but I wasn't surprised. And the reason I wasn't surprised is because I believe in an Almighty, and I believe a great gift of the Almighty in each man and woman's soul is the desire to be free. I believe in the universality of freedom. It's shouldn't surprise you when people say, I'd rather be free than live under the hand of a tyrant. So we'll help the Iraqis. We'll help them politically. We'll help them economically. And we will continue to train their security forces so they get to take the fight to the enemy. And I want you to know, if you've got a loved one in uniform, if you've got a loved one in Iraq, I would not have your loved one there if I didn't believe that the cause was noble and just and that victory was attainable. As a matter of fact, the only way we will not win is if we leave before the job is done. Important part of this campaign. It's an important part for your future. And if you listen for the plan of the Democrats, there isn't one. Oh, they've got some ideas. Some of them say get out right now. Some of them say get out at a fixed date even though the job hadn't been done. One of them said let's move our troops to an island some 5,000 miles away. You know, they don't have a plan, but they've got a principle around which they're organized, which is, it's too tough, get out before the job is done. That's what they believe. I'm not saying they're unpatriotic. I'm saying they're wrong. They have taken a calculated gamble. They believe the only way they can win this election is to criticize and offer no plan. It's a huge election issue. And they don't have a plan. So if you happen to bump into a Democrat candidate, you might want to ask this question, what is your plan? If they say they want to protect the homeland but oppose the Patriot Act, ask them this question, what's your plan? If they say they want to uncover terrorist plots but oppose listening in on terrorist conversations, ask them this question, what's your plan? If they say they want to stop new attacks on our country but oppose letting the CIA detain and question the terrorists who might know what those plots are, ask them this question, what's your plan? If they say they want to win the war on terror but call for America to pull out from what Al-Qaeda says is the central front in the war on terror, ask them a simple question. They don't have one. I want you to remind your fellow citizens when you ask them to go vote, harsh criticism is not a plan for victory. Second guessing is not a strategy. We have a plan for victory. And part of that plan is to make sure Republicans control the House and the Senate. Retreat from Iraq before the job is done would embolden the enemy and would make this country less secure. In this war, if we were to leave before the job is done, the enemy would follow us here to America. We'd leave before the job is done and would enable these radicals and extremists to be able to recruit. If we leave before the job is done, it would dash the hopes of millions upon millions of people in the Middle East who simply want to live a peaceful existence. It would condemn them to the violent ideology of these haters. And if we were to leave before the job is done, it would dishonor the sacrifice of the men and women who have worn our uniforms.